Interested in how you can be investing recession-proof in 2020? Join me today because today I will go through my recession-proof investment method with you in this video. Let's get into it. Hey, what's up you guys? Lukas here from xlwealth.com. Now, good that you joined in today because today we'll be answering the question, are your investments still safe in this recession period here in 2020? Well, the question is, are they still safe? Well, if you did a great job, up front, and of course, if you're reaping the benefits from all your research that you did in the front, then most likely the answer is yes. If you take a look at all the rich people in the world like Jeff Bezos and Warren Buffett, they got millions, they got even billions lying around. They're not even worried. So why are you so worried when that $1,000 that you have lying around is like, ooh, is my $1,000 being spent well? Well, I'll tell you this, if you did a great job on making money, if you really know what you're doing with your money, then yes, your money's completely safe. But next to that, but if you didn't, then you might have to reconsider your strategy. Well, talking about strategies, today in this video, of course, I will go through my strategy of how to invest recession-proof. Now, in my recession-proof investment method, it's very simple. One of the investments that I do, of course, is investing in stocks. Now, investing in stocks, it's very plain and simple because, if you want to start investing in stocks, the minimum amount of investing is 25 bucks. This is why I love stocks. It's very easy, it's very cheap to start out with, and you could have returns up to maybe 20% per year, which is high, but 20% over 25 bucks is only a few dollars. Now, then again, if you have 100,000 in and you have 20% return, then, you'll start to see the numbers grow, and that's like, that's very interesting. And this is how stocks actually grow. Now, the cool part with stocks is you can start very low. It's very easy to start out with. And if you did a great job on researching all the stocks before investing your money in, then no recession can kill it off. Because in the end, of course, the most important thing, what you always need to do is always diversify your portfolio. If you have your money in stocks, which is very likely, of course, the moment you invest your money in stocks, what is very important is don't only invest your money in one sector or in one region or in one country. It's always very important to invest your money in different kinds of sectors, so that you can diversify. If the one area is not doing so well, the other area is. And that is very important. And with stocks, it's very simple. You can just start out with. This is what I tend to do. I have dividend stocks on the one hand, and of course I buy singular stocks, but I also buy index funds. It's always good to diversify. Why do I buy dividend stocks? It's just nice to have some dividend stocks that just, tend to pay you a certain income. Now, of course, on the other end, it's very nice to have index funds because it's very easy. They got a whole bunch of stocks and a whole bunch of companies all put together, and they're actually investing through that. And of course, why do I buy in singular stocks? That's like going to the casino. Sometimes it's just cool to go to the casino. It is a little bit of fun, of course. And you'll be like, you know what? I'll go to the roulette table and I'll just put my chip on 18. Why? I don't know why, because that, if I win with 18, that's great. If I don't, just leave it in there. Now, that's not really real, because on the roulette table, if I leave it there at 18 and it's not 18, they just take my money away. Whereas if I buy a singular stock, it is always mine until I sell it off, which could be with a loss or a win. You can start very cheaply, of course, and that's the difference. And that's the cool part. It's easy to start out with. Your money is liquid. If you want to sell it off, boom, you can sell it off. If the market grows up, you can actually sell it off and then you make a little bit of money, of course. It's as simple as that. But the most important thing with stocks, even if there's a recession, and we can take a look at the previous years in the past, if you always take a look over a time span of at least 10 years, you'll always see the market grow. Always. Always. So if you leave in your money at least 10 years' time, it always grows anyway. So your money, is your money safe in stocks? If you did a good research, if you did your job, if you did your research well up front, then yes, stocks is a great choice. Okay, let's go to my recession-proof investment method number 2. If you've seen more of my videos, of course you know that my second method of investing is of course real estate. Now, so the question again pops up, is it still safe to be investing in real estate if there's a recession, if we're in the middle of a recession, or if a recession might be popping up? Because, if you watch this video this year, 2020, yes, then, we kind of are in the middle of a recession, might be going down right now. So, it feels like we're in a recession. If you're in 2021 or even further ahead, then you could say are we going towards a next recession, or are we in the middle of a bull market, in a growing market? Well, that really depends. Okay, so if we take a look at real estate, is it a recession-proof investment to be investing in real estate? Well, like you always know, of course, there is an easier way to get started in real estate, but then you don't really have any control. That is, of course, REITs. And REITs is like a stockish market. You can actually invest in REITs through publicly listed funds or stocks, of course, and then you're actually investing in real estate through a certain stock. But then again, you don't really have control over real estate. So can you really consider that as real estate? The answer is, well, it really depends. But then again, never mind that, okay? So we're not talking about REITs. So we're actually talking about investing your money in real estate that you actually own or work with or actually trade your time with, okay? So in my case, what I do, of course, there are several things that I do within real estate. This is how I build my money and make money over time, of course. So real estate is very simple. A method that so many people know, of course, is you buy real estate, you hold on to it, and the only thing what you do is you rent the place out, which is very simple. This is actually one of the methods that is so simple to start out with. The moment you have money for a certain property, you have the 30% down payment of a certain property. You've done your research, which property, makes a little bit of profit after all the expenses. This is the method that you apply. You buy a certain property, you hold on to it, and you rent it out. Now, this is what I see very often. If you make a return somewhere between 8 and 12%, this is what I see in the Netherlands, you've done a great job. Well done. Now, what I see very often as well, if we take a look at the current market, I don't know if you've known the market here in the Netherlands, but if you take a look in the current market here in the Netherlands, you see that the prices of housing has gone up the last few years. So what happens is the return on investment has gone down because the selling price, the purchasing price of a certain property has gone up as well. Now, this is the interesting thing within a recession. Now, this is what I see is that some people are okay with a lower return on investment, which I could understand, of course. So if you have $100,000 lying around on your bank account, yes, I see a lot of people like that, think like, you know what, I gotta do something with my money because leaving it on the bank account is not a great idea because, interest rates on savings accounts are crap. Yes, that means, that just means you're losing money if you leave your money on your bank account. This is why are so many people that I see, that I know in my network as well, they say, you know what, I'll just buy a property that is more expensive, which is totally fine, and I'll just rent it out. I'll just apply this method, buy, hold, and rent it out. And the moment I do that, I get a return of somewhere between 4 and 6%. Now you might be thinking, is that recession proof then? Because, 8 to 12 sounds a lot nicer compared to 4 to 6. Now you might be thinking, yeah, but it's always better than leaving the $100,000 on your savings account that doesn't generate you money at all, which is totally correct. But the situation is this. Now you're making maybe 4 to 6% on return on investment. What happens is this. Let's pretend that you bought this property for $150,000. Now the interesting part is this, of course, you did a 30% down payment, which is $45,000, what you needed to do as a down payment. That means the bank loaned you $105,000. You got that from the bank like, hey mister, you did a great job in finding this property. But this is the situation, what happens in a recession. In a recession, these properties, if the neighbors are selling off their properties for a lower price, what the bank will do is they'll reappraise the area as well. Let's just pretend that the area is being appraised at $120,000. All of a sudden, what the bank will say is like, hey mister, we see that at least 5 properties in your neighborhood with a similar house, with a similar property, are currently selling off for $120,000. That just means we're in a recession period right now, right? So the properties are being sold for less because nobody wants them anymore. All of a sudden, the bank will say, you know what? Hey, this is far more than the 70%. 70% of 120,000 is only 84,000. The bank will say, whoa, there's a difference of at least 20,000. So the bank will say to you, Mister, so we loaned you 105,000, whereas the current prices actually tell us that the loan that we should have given you is only 84,000. What they will tell you is, hey, mister, we want to have that 21,000 right away in our pockets back because, you know, we're not going to go into this risk, so give us our money back now. All of a sudden, this is recession time. Your return on investment wasn't big enough to cover the expenses. You bought a property that is too expensive for the actual price. So what you actually did is you bought a property that were overestimated, and now all of a sudden you got to pay the price. This happened back in 2008, 9, and 10. When the housing prices were low, all of a sudden, these investors who bought a property that had a too low of a return on investment, all of a sudden, they had to give the money back to the bank. And all of a sudden, if you have one property, if you had $20,000 lying around, you could pay back the loan. But if you don't have that amount, what happens all of a sudden is that investors are selling off their properties for $120,000 because that's what the market is. They bought it for $150,000 and they're selling it off for $120,000. And guess who is coming around to buy their cheap properties? Yes, I'm going to buy their properties. And this is why it's very important to do your research well up front. If you don't do your research well up front, if you think it's okay with taking a lower return on investment, well, this is the risk that you might be taking. This is why doing research well up front is so important. So the second method is, of course, buying a certain property and then selling it off. Now, before selling it off, you can actually do some repairs. Before you sell it off, you add value to it, and then, of course, you make money while doing that. And that method is called flipping. Now, I don't do a lot of flipping because I've got 2 left hands. Yes. So I'm not very handy. So what I tend to do, of course, is I buy a property and I sell it off as a bank. So I act up as a bank. I sell it off to homeowners who want to buy the property but can't get a mortgage from the bank directly. So I act up as a bank and then sell the property to those people in 20 or 30 years. And then, of course, they have a higher interest. And that's how I make my money over time. So is this recession safe, buying property and then selling it off to actual homeowners while they pay off their mortgage in 20 or 30 years? Is that as a recession proof? In this case, yes, this is, because these people who live in your home, they've already made the choice. I want to live here for at least the coming 20 or 30 years. Making it very easily. They're paying off their repairs, they're paying off the home, they're paying off their mortgage. So it's their property in the end anyway. So they got to take good care of the home. The only thing I do is I act as a bank. So therefore, for them, it's just, they're just paying money back to a person who bought the property and selling it off to us. So it's very simple as that. Now you might be thinking, within a recession period, well, same goes for the people, the tenants who live in your home and the property owners, so the buyers of your home. Aren't these people struck by a certain recession as well, so they might not be able to pay up your home? Well, I don't know if you've seen my Pay Yourself First video. If you haven't watched the Pay Yourself First video, be sure to click the pop-up button over there and you'll see the video there. You'll notice that people always tend to pay off their necessities. They will pay off the things they need to have to pay off first, which is rent or their homes or mortgages. That's what they need to pay off. The interesting part is this as well. The moment they cannot pay off, and if I take a look at previous years, even in 2020 with a recession going on and a crash in the market, the same amount of people, around 7% of people had difficulty paying off at the right date of the right time of the month. And yet within 30 days, they actually paid up their mortgages, their rents, within 30 days delayed. So yeah, it's kind of the same, 7%, which is kind of similar to previous years, which was like 5%. So is there a difference in recession time? No. If you buy good properties, if you buy the correct properties, you've done your research well, people who live in your home will just be totally fine paying off the mortgages and their rents. So you don't have to worry about that anymore. So buying property and then selling off to a homeowner for a long term is just totally fine. And it's a great investment. So again, the question, is it recession proof by investing in the right properties over here? Answer is absolutely. And number 3 in real estate investing is, of course, buying and renting it short stay. Now, in this case, it's buying, holding, and renting long stay. In this case, it's buying it, holding onto it, but the renting out, it's short stay. You might be thinking short stay? Yes, which is like a holiday home, like which we could do on booking.com or on Airbnb. You might be thinking, holidays in a recession time? Yeah, holiday home in a recession time. But the interesting thing is, are people going on a holiday in a recession time? And the most logical answer seems to be no. And yet there are people going on a holiday in the middle of a recession time, which is totally fine. But the market here is not being focused on the holiday people. My short stay people are not the holiday people. My short stay people are the business people. People who need to travel for their work and need to stay somewhere anyway. And they don't want to stay in a hotel because a hotel is, on the one end, too expensive, too fancy, and, it doesn't feel like home. Whereas these homes that I own, I'll have a level of a hotel, yet they have a separate kitchen, they have a separate living room, they have a separate bedroom, they have a separate bathroom. Wait, it's just a home. So it's kind of logical, right? So what I have these short stays. And who stay in my home? So I'm targeting very particular people. People who need to be working even in a recession time. Now, I don't know about your country, but in my country, when there was the recession just a couple of months ago and the market crash, what happened is that these people who needed to build infrastructure, who needed to build homes, who needed to build utility buildings, they needed a place to stay as well. And these are the people, these are the business people that I target. So not only traveler business people, but also nurses, but also contractors, but also doctors. So all these people who needed a place to stay at, they could stay at my place. So even in a recession time, these properties do really well because, hey, if you've done your research well and you know where to target your people, have your right properties in those places, and the people will still come to live in your homes. Now, why do I do this? Staying one night over is like a hotel price. It's like $100 staying in a whole apartment. Well, if you have people staying over 20 days of the 30 days in a month in your apartment and you charge them $100 per night, that's already $2,000. It's an easy way to make good money from those people who need a place to stay anyway. And of course, you're offering a home compared to a hotel offering a room. Different services, different audience. Is this doing well in a recession time? Yes. Is this doing well outside a recession time? Absolutely, because then you can attract holiday people as well. And whoa, isn't that a great idea? And these are the 3 real estate investments that I do even in a recession time. And you could start out these methods all by yourself. I started out with stocks because it's easy and cheap. You can grow your money in that time, and then of course you can start putting your money and your investments in real estate. And in your real estates, it's like selling off candy. At the moment you sell off candy, the margin might be 20%, but dude, candy is only $1 per piece, so you're getting 20 cents off that. The moment you're selling off bread, for example, it's maybe $2 or $3. And the moment you're selling off cars, the margin may be 5%, but dude, selling off a car is like maybe $30,000. And all of a sudden, a lot more commission comes in, and this same goes for real estate. Stocks maybe have a great, huge return on investment, but hey, real estate is the one thing that really did it for me, and I'm completely safe recession time as well. So the question, are your investments safe in 2020? If you did research well on the front end, hey, The answer is absolutely yes. And if you like the video, of course, be sure to hit that like button. Thank you very much for watching today's video. And of course, if you want to be subscribed to this channel, hit that subscribe button, because that's the way how we can grow our channel. And of course, every time a new video comes out and you want to be notified, be sure to hit that notification bell as well. Thank you very much for watching today's video, and I'll see you on the next time. Bye-bye and happy investing.